if you have some extra items for today's practice, it would be helpful, although nothing's ever mandatory as long as you're comfortable lying down or on your side. Some of the things that may be useful today are a chair or wall, some kind of vertical surface that you can either rest your legs on or your feet on, for legs up the wall or legs in a chair. That'll be later on. Some blankets or towels, a few pillows or a yoga bolster if you have one. Something to cover your eyes. If you have an eye pillow, great. If you just have like a lightweight shirt, something, underwear, I don't care. I'm not here to judge. Something soft to put over your face for Shavasana. And then if you've got a couple yoga blocks, they'll mainly be used as risers. You'll be all set. So let's start. We will not waste any time in getting directly to the relaxation portion of our program, which means let's go right to Supta Baddha Konasana. Reclining bound angle. So I'm going to show a couple different setups. I see, by the way, that some of you are moving. You already know what that looks like. If you don't worry. You don't have to know in advance. Some of the setup that may be useful for you. If your body is comfortable being flat and in kind of a back bend, that's sort of the classical way that the pose is set up. So I'm going to show that with a bolster. This one's really poofy. Not everybody's back likes such a high support. So you can have a lower support, a higher support, a squishier support, so that you're comfortable, or using whatever props you have. And then put something underneath your head just to raise the height of the head a little, and then the bolster or blankets will support your rib cage. Your bum will be on the next level down, directly on your mat. And then if you've got blocks, this first round I'll show you where to place the blocks, and then I'll show it one other way just in case this isn't comfortable for you. So I'm going to lie down over the support, soles of the feet together, knees out to the sides, and I'll tuck the blocks or whatever you've got as risers, one under each, like thigh and shin, so that there's no strain in the inner groin area or in the inner thighs. Find where the legs naturally land, and then bring your props in to meet your legs. So we're not trying to lift them up out of where they land, but to simply support them so that things can gradually open. Now, if as you lie down, this feels like either too low or too much back bend, you might enjoy the ramp version of it. Now, I'll walk through that, but if you found your comfortable, happy place, by all means, just stay right there and kind of ignore what I'm saying. The ramp version uses the blocks as risers to create an inclined surface. It's less of a back bend, more like being in a recliner chair. So, shorter block, taller block. The bolster leans back over it, and this does work better with a bolster or with a pillow. Blankets tend to cascade over the blocks and be less comfortable. You may still want a headrest. And then the same thing here. You'll lean back, supporting the head. In the inclined version, feel free to back up directly up against your bolster. So there's no need to have a gap there. It's not very backbendy. We're not trying to go up and over that tall edge of the bolster. We're simply leaning backward. If you find that the arms are uncomfortable, kind of hanging out in space, you can bring your hands to your body. Or if you've got a whole lot of other props and things nearby, grab a pillow or some blankets and make little armrests for yourself. If you've practiced with me in the studio, you know sometimes we use rolled up blankets and we make like first class armrests out of them. And that's nice. So the elbows and the forearms are supported. Make any comfort arrangements that your body might appreciate and settle in there. So if there were a key restorative pose, this would probably be like the one. Not that it's the perfect one for everybody, but it's kind of universal. And you'll breathe here. This is one of the few yoga poses you could do right after eating, especially the inclined version, as it creates a lot of nice space in the abdomen to encourage comfortable digestion. And this pose can help the mind start to quiet, the nerves begin to calm. We could all use a bit of that, a bit of extra peace and calm right now. And let the breath flow in. And let the breath flow out. Observe the rise and fall of the belly. And truly allow the belly to move freely as the breath flows in and out. And let the chest blossom open. Let the shoulders melt. And of course, one of the benefits when we settle down and breathe and bring a little bit of quiet and calm to our nervous system, it also benefits our immune system. Stay right here. And we'll remain here for another minute. And with this and any of the poses that we're holding for a while, remember that what's most important is that you take care of yourself. So if the body becomes uncomfortable, if there's an area that's feeling aggravated, by all means, as calmly as possible, adjust your position so that you are more comfortable. We'll be making a variety of different shapes with the body during the practice. And it benefits the nervous system more to change position and still be comfortable than it would if we tried to keep an exact shape while being physically uncomfortable. If you feel a little twinges or a little squirrely, bring the attention rather back to the breath. Very gently. Start to deepen the breath. And bring the attention to the forearms. Turn the palms down. And then inhale and roll the palms up. Exhale, roll the palms down. So you're using your floor or whatever armrest is beneath the forearms. Rolling over the pinky edge of the palm as you inhale. And rolling back over as you exhale. And now start to stretch the arms out a bit more. Make any kind of snow angel type circle out to the side and overhead as you inhale. And then back out to the side and down as you exhale. Take it at your own breath pace. Inhaling, reaching out and up. Exhaling. The arms come back down. Do that 2 more times. Take the whole inhale to circle around and up. And the whole exhale to come back out and down. Just like that. And release. Good. As you're ready, gather the knees in, separating the feet, and gently rock the knees side to side, windshield wiper style, on the mat. And once you've rocked a little bit, depending on the support, if you're on the inclined support, it's usually more comfortable to come straight up slowly. If you're on a lower support, you might roll to the side and then press up with your hands. And once you're upright, take a moment sitting any way you like to roll the shoulders and turn the head from side to side. Gently take your time to Tilt the head to one side. Take a few breaths there. And tilt to the other side. Take a few breaths there. And gently back to center. While seated, with the legs out or crossed, whatever you like, exhale and draw the navel in and round the spine. Inhale and lift the heart. Just a little gentle massaging of the muscles all along the back. Inhaling gently into a back bend, the shoulders melt. Exhaling, draw the navel in. Just like that, inhaling. Exhaling. And come on back to center. Now the next pose, if the muscles at the backs of the legs, in particular if the hamstrings are tight, it can be very useful to have a chair or some other furniture beside, like the arm of a couch or a couch cushion, if you can get kind of sidled up next to or underneath it, can work nicely. So right leg goes out in front, left foot comes in, and the knee is bent out to the side. If your leg would like some support under the outer thigh, feel free to place it there. If the knee feels a little torquey, sometimes some support makes it more comfortable. So this is the tighter hamstring variation of Janu Shirsasana. Well, a tighter hamstring, it's not the only one. If I've got a hard surface on the chair, I might throw a blanket over it to make it a bit more friendly. And then I bring the support up to meet me. I start to lean forward, and I'm going to aim to have a comfortable way to rest the head. And there may be some stretch in the low back, but it shouldn't be a crazy amount. Same thing with the hamstring. If it's a crazy amount of stretch, if you're as high up as the support allows, then consider bending the straight leg a bit and take some of the tension off the back of the thigh. In this case, with the hamstring stretch, allow only maybe a 2 or a 2.5 on a scale, on an intensity scale of 1 to 10. Now, if hamstring tightness is not what you're working with, you might choose to grab your pillow, bolster, or blankets, lay them directly on your leg, lean forward, and rest here. Now, especially this lower version, there may be some pressure on the abdomen. I don't usually talk about pooping during yoga, but if you have any digestive upset, especially on the side of like loose stool, or your belly just doesn't feel good with the pressure, then go a little higher up, give yourself some space for the abdomen. If the pressure is tolerable and your digestive system's feeling okay, then it can actually be a helpful pose for our digestion. So there's no pose that's universally helpful or not helpful. It depends on what we're feeling and experiencing. And as you settle in here, deepen the breath. Let gravity assist you in this pose. Let the inhale come in at its own pace.
You might take a little extra time with the exhale. Allowing the out-breath to be slightly longer than the in-breath. Here again, if as you're working with the breath, you start to feel breathless or it's stressing you out, return to normal breathing. The imprint on the nervous system is the higher priority than any particular breath ratio or body position. We're training the body slowly come up, and we really are training the nervous system. Slowly, slowly, slowly come up. And when you do, gather in the bent knee and stretch it out, change legs. Support the bent knee if it would like some support. And then come into your forward bend with the head supported. Arrange your head support so that it meets your head. You don't have to reach your head or strain your neck to get down to the support. So keep adding blankets and whatever items you have handy, or arms, folded arms, until you find a height that meets the head. Let the back of the neck and the sides of the neck lengthen as the shoulders melt down away from the ears. And breathe into the gentle length along the back body, the low back, the back of the leg, maybe the crease of the groin on the bent knee. Observe where you feel sensation. Remembering this is not about the big stretch, but about using these positions to cultivate a sense of quiet in our nervous system. So our body learns if every time we go into a pose, we're really pushing and straining. The body remembers that, and so sometimes we unintentionally train a bit of a stress response. So we're looking to retrain. So that as the body moves into some of these positions, with repetition over time, the whole body, the nervous system welcomes these positions. And it's like walking into a room or a space where you're really comfortable. You come into the pose and you're like, oh yeah, this is okay. Take a few more breaths right here. And perhaps these last few breaths in the pose are a little deeper, and bump up against the edges of how deep a breath you can comfortably take. Very gently come up, take your time as you come to upright. Set your bolster or chair so that you can stretch your legs out, rotate the ankles, turn the legs in and out. I'm hiding my legs. There you go. Turn the legs in and out. Our next position is a bit of an inversion, and you can make it more or less effortful depending on what feels appropriate for you. So, option 1 is kneeling puppy with support. So, a simple way of supporting is with a yoga block. I'll show it with that. You could also use a bolster, completely fine. I'll be on my shins, walking the hands forward and bringing the forehead to rest on the block. And I want that same kind of calm, resting feeling of the forehead. And I'm balancing out the effort of the arms and how much the head is resting. So I don't feel like it's a face plant. And I want to not feel like my ponytail's too tight. Don't pull the skin of the forehead up towards your scalp, but let it rest really calmly. Now, if down dog is truly rather restful for you and you wish to do it today, you can do the same thing from downward facing dog. Tucking the toes under. Now, sometimes the support isn't quite high enough. You can turn your block higher. You can also take your hands and feet wider and longer to take advantage of the support under the head. And breathe here. So, of course, if you're in the down dog version, there is a more noticeable amount of effort. The relaxed part will be in the way the head rests on the support. That interplay between the work of the arms and the legs, allowing the head to rest, allowing the back of the neck to be long. Stay here for a few more breaths. If you're in down dog in particular and you want to take the knees down at any time, feel free. Now very gently bring the knees down, uncurl the toes, and let's take a supported child's pose. So grab your support, not just for the head, but for the whole torso. So our intention will be, I'm going to grab a bolster plus an extra blanket. You can mush up a comforter or your blankets or pillows. I like to take the knees a little wider than the bolster. Get the bolster right in between the knees. And then start to come forward. And I want enough height that the abdomen and the chest and the head are all supported, and it feels like a cozy little snug nest. And if it feels like there's a lot of pressure on your head because your hips are higher and your head is lower, try an extra blanket. Add to the height and see if that improves the situation. You know, the real test is how does it feel? But for sure, we're not trying to get lower and lower in this case. We're bringing the support as high as it needs to be so that your body can really use that support to rest on. And then when it's resting over the support, it also takes some of the pressure off the knees and the hips. Breathe here. If your bum is touching your heels, let the bum rest on the heels. If your bum is not touching your heels and you have extra soft things around you, you can smush your remaining props between your bum and your heels so that it gives you, I'm going to use this big pillow. It looks kind of funny, but it feels rather nice. So you have something you can sit on. Turn the head to the other side. So all the support is in the service of allowing the body to drape over the props while resting in this fully supported fetal position. Breathe into the upper back, let the shoulder blades broaden. Let the breath flow also into the lower back, as if each inhale gently inflates the low back, and each exhale, the body melts over the props. There's a conscious surrender into the support. Stay right there. As you continue to work with the breath, inflating the low back on the inhale, allowing the body to settle in on the exhale. Take a few more breaths, and then bring the hands in so the palms slowly press the floor as you start to come up. And as you come up, you'll swing the legs around or take down dog. So if you like down dog to stretch your legs out, take down dog. If you want to sit upright and stretch your legs out, any way you like to get the circulation back into the lower legs and feet, rotating the ankles if you're sitting upright, pedaling the feet if you're in down dog. All right. So let's gather our props for our next pose, which is a supported bridge pose. For our bridge pose today, you can use a block if you like underneath the pelvis so it catches that bony plate of the sacrum. And we're going to add another prop. If you've got another blanket or towel, opened up like this, like the way that the blankets are usually stacked in the studio. And there's a fringy edge and a neat edge, or even if it's a towel, there's a neatly folded edge and then the kind of loose edge. Have the neatly folded edge facing toward the end of your mat. This creates a smooth or even surface where it's going to meet the back of your neck. So let me move that so you can see. As I lie down,
this slight elevated surface, and you could add a second blanket if you want. We're just going to have the pelvis will be the highest, and then the chest and shoulders will be down a level, and then the bottom level will be where your head is. So your head will go directly on your mat. Your rib cage, shoulder blades, they'll all be on your blanket platform. And then your pelvis will be supported by either your bolster or a yoga block. So when you lie down, line things up so that you can just feel that neat edge of the blanket just above the shoulders, and your head is on that slightly lower surface. Knees are bent, feet are flat. When you're ready, you'll peel up and place your block so that it supports you. Now, there are a variety of ways to orient the block. It can be lower or higher. It can be more narrow or wide. Different backs will appreciate different setups. If your block is higher and you're feeling like it's not stable or it's poking into your back, try it with the support lower, or trade out your block for something softer, more yielding. And then just that. We've got the benefits of a mild inversion happening here. So there's one study that I especially remember from a number of years ago that was done by one of the yoga teachers who worked at a university at the time. And they wanted to investigate the truth of the claim in yoga that certain poses, and especially inversions, can reduce blood pressure and trigger the relaxation response in the body. And after testing all kinds of things, what they found when they used, it was just a tilt table, and they tilt the grad students slightly more inverted. And what they discovered was it only took a 6% inversion, so probably a bit less than what you're in right now, to send a message to these receptors, these baroreceptors in the neck, that starts this cascade of the blood pressure lowering, the heart rate slowing, and the body's relaxation response kicking in. So know that you don't have to fling the whole body upside down to receive the calming benefits of an inversion. And if working with issues around blood pressure or heart stuff, it may not be appropriate to completely invert the body in a dramatic way. This may be much more effective and safe. And stay here for a bit longer. Gently breathing in, breathing out. And as with all of our poses, if the body needs to come down sooner, take care of yourself. You can always remove your block or support under the pelvis and lay flat for a bit if that feels better for your body. Collarbones wide, arms resting. Let the breath flow in
Let the breath flow out. Check in with the muscles along the nape of the neck. Give them permission to lengthen, to loosen. Allow the breath to flow any way it wants to. From our bridge pose, we'll explore a bit of a hip flexor stretch. Again, not intended to be super intense. Now, I know some of you folks have really long, spacious hip flexors and lots of room. And I have very short hip flexors, so I'm going to show you some different variations. In general, when the hips are higher up and the feet are lower, the legs are straighter, it will provide more opportunity for the hip flexors in the fronts of the pelvis and the thigh to lengthen. So, if the hip flexors are tight, as mine are, I'm going to just inch one leg out a little straighter, a little straighter, a little straighter, until I start to feel a bit of a tug in the front of the thigh and on the kind of deep in the belly and in the lower abdominal area. Now you might do that, stay there for 10 breaths and then switch over to the other leg. If, however, you're very comfortable there, you can feel free to straighten your legs. I'm going to lower my block because a lower block will allow my legs to stretch out at the same time. Now, some of you can leave the block lifted and straighten both legs and be perfectly comfortable. Listen to your body to determine what to do. Right? Listen to me a little, but listen to your body more. And just see. If it messages into your low back, that's too much. Try one leg at a time in that case. If you're doing the alternating leg version, be on the second leg. And if you want to take a few more breaths so that you're even, do that. And whenever you're ready, return to the supported bridge position. From there, press into your feet. Lift the pelvis, push the support away, and curl your back down. Stay there for a moment. Now, squiggle and wriggle yourself back so that that blanket that was up at the back of your neck, you're going to move further in that direction so that your blanket catches you under the shoulder blades, and it makes a little a little bit of a chesty back bend, so that when you open your arms out to the side, the blanket is kind of just under the armpits. A little lift in the chest, but a lot of support underneath your pelvis. So your low back is not in the back bend, but your chest and upper back are in a little bit of a back bend, a little bit of spaciousness here. Take a few more breaths right here. Easy in the neck and the shoulders. You might rock the head a little bit. And take a few more breaths here. And then very gently make your way over to one side. And press up to seated. Take your time. Our next pose will be a seated twist. This one, more of a variation of a pose called Bharadvajasana. I think it's named for a sage, but don't quote me on that. So I'm going to take if you have a low squishy bolster, use that, or use your yoga blanket or towel. I'm going to fold it. Now your results may vary. So you may want a little more, a little less support underneath you. In this particular seated twist, we'll swing the legs around. So if you've got let's say this is your right hip coming up against the support, you'll swing your legs over to the left. And I'm going to sit up on this support so that I arrange myself so that there's enough blanket underneath that front thigh that I don't feel like I'm dropped into the abyss. You may be more on the support, more off the support, your legs off to the side. Now, the block comes in handy because depending on how high you're elevated, you may or may not be able to touch the mat down low. So, sitting up tall, let's assume your legs are swung around to the left side. Your left hand comes to your right knee. Your other arm, fingertips to the mat, or if you want, use your block and place your hand on a block. It's kind of behind you. You're spiraling the spine upward and rotating the chest to the right. Gentle twist. If you feel like one side of your bum is falling off the support, feel free to rearrange yourself so that you're nicely supported. If the left side of your bum just will not touch the mat or the blanket, you might add a little bit of extra height. Stay here in this twist. There's effort, but soften the effort. Every time you exhale, relax the shoulders. When you inhale, feel how long your spine is. Exhale, relax the shoulders, feeling the twist. Now gently unwind. from here, your support, you're going to sit on it and swing the legs around to your right. Have both sitting bones, both sides of your bum on your support, the legs swinging around. You can either have the left foot on top of the right thigh, or you can rest the sole of your foot on the other leg. Sit tall. Right hand comes across to the left thigh. Left hand goes kind of behind you. It's getting ready for the twist. Use a block to lift the floor up if you like. Grow tall as you inhale. And then twist as you exhale. And you may find one direction is more natural for the body to rotate in. So see what it's like on this side and work gently with it. Lengthening upward as you inhale and relaxing the shoulders as you exhale. Feel the length of your spine as you inhale. Relaxing the shoulders as you exhale. Lengthening up on an inhale. And relaxing on an exhale. Stay right here. Feel the ground beneath you. Balance the effort with a gentle sense of ease. Maybe your right shoulder blade nudges you, touch in the direction of the twist. And unwind gently. And swing, as you unwind, swing the legs out in front of you. And you can, if you like, stretch your legs out either with or without the support underneath you. So the choice is yours. Take the legs and stretch them out for a moment. Swing the legs in and out. And then let's take a little bit of a supported twist. So this time we'll lie down while we're in the twist. So let's say I've got a yoga bolster, and I'll place it on my mat lengthwise. And let's assume again that the bolster will be over on the right side. And I'm going to swing my legs around to the left, or you would swing your legs around to the left. I'll turn and face the bolster, and as I'm getting ready to lie down, I'm thinking, how long can I stretch my body out over the bolster? Now, for my tall friends, you might push your bolster a little further away from you. It doesn't have to touch the leg. That part doesn't matter, but that your abdomen and chest and head are supported is comfortable, right? So if you wind up off the edge of the bolster, congratulations for lengthening, but move your bolster so you have some support. I'm going to lay my chest down really long. And then once I get to the part where I lay my head down, you probably want to turn your head to the side, the same side as your knees are on. Maybe add a blanket for your head, especially if it feels like your head's dropped down, and then rest your head on the blanket. And breathe. If the legs need a little bit of a shift in how they're staggered, Sometimes if the low back feels like it's in a back bend, you might bring the legs a little closer in toward the chest, a little more fetal position while you're here. If it feels like you can't get the chest facing the bolster if you're turned kind of sideways, let the top leg come a little bit forward. That makes sense. So you're more rolling the pelvis to allow the chest to face the bolster. And once you're there, stay and breathe. And again, allow the body to drape over the props. Allow the props to support. And in this case, again, apply a bit of pressure. If it feels like the pressure on the abdomen with the twist and lying down on the bolster is too much, you can nudge your bolster away a bit so you have a bit more breathing room. Now, it's okay if it's a little bit awkward and kind of feels restrictive. That's part of the beauty of it. But if you find that that's troublesome, by all means, reposition so that you're comfortable. Take a few more breaths right here. Now gently use your hands to press into the mat and slowly ease your way to upright. You can turn your body or you can move your props. Arrange things so the bolster is near the left hip now and the legs swing around to the right. And once you're there, remember your pelvis can rotate. We're not trying to keep the hips in any particular position. They're allowed to follow your chest. So let the legs move as they need to so your navel and your chest can face toward the bolster, and then lengthen way out as you lay yourself gently on your support, resting your head on its support and breathing. So part of the goodness that is contained within the awkwardness of this pose is a bit of a like squeeze and release effect in the abdomen. The sense of constricting some of the space. And while we're in that constricted moment, can we slow down the exhale, allowing the breath to come in slowly, gently, filling us up, perhaps filling us in a little different way than usual due to the body position. And we'll stay here for a little longer. And when we do come out of the pose, there's this sense of releasing the restriction and allowing this kind of refreshed circulation into the area. We used to talk in yoga about, oh, now we've got fresh, new oxygenated blood moving in there. Like, it's not entirely true, but it is this sense of like breaking up stagnation by consciously restricting and then releasing. It's a little bit similar to the way that our bodies relax better when we give the muscles a good squeeze, a good firm squeeze, and then allow them to relax. They tend to relax more deeply than if we were to just have our brain tell our muscles, okay, relax now. And gently use your hands and slowly press up. Let the legs unwind. Rotate the ankles. We'll take one more forward bend using our props. So now, similar to the way we did the one-legged forward bend, our Janu Sirsasana pose earlier, if the hamstrings are tight, bring more support under the torso. So for this pose, I'll take my feet out wide. Now you are welcome to take the legs out wide if that's comfortable. If it feels like, ooh, just this position is a lot for the backs of the thighs or the inner thighs, you are absolutely allowed to bend the knees. Be comfortable. And then lean forward so that, as we did before, your forehead is supported in a way that feels comfortable for the head, for the neck, for the shoulders, and the back. And then, of course, if this is like in your wheelhouse of, oh, I love this pose, it feels good, I want more, well, hang on to your horses, don't go bananas. But you can get more stretch. You would use, instead of, if the chair is too high, then you'll grab a bolster, maybe some blankets, again, depending on what feels like it meets you, where the body wants to naturally rest. And you'll lean forward over the support with the head turned to one side. If you're more comfortable here with the head at center, you can absolutely do that. I find I like to use my hands in that case, otherwise I suffocate on the blanket. So do not suffocate yourself in yoga. Make sure that you can breathe. And for our purposes today, we'll take kind of a yin approach to the legs. If you find that having the feet flexed and working the legs is useful for you, you can do that, but you could also relax the legs. If your head is turned to one side, turn it to the other side now. And breathing here, allowing gravity to assist us in this pose, allowing the breath to fill up the low back, the shoulders to relax, and let the head rest. We'll be here for a few more breaths. Very gently now, use your hands to press the floor and slowly, slowly, slowly take several breaths to come up. So we're keeping a bit of that quiet feeling from the forward bend, even as we come to upright. So now we'll need either our chairs or our wall. And if you're using a wall, this is when we'll do legs up the wall. I'm going to show legs in a chair because it's easier for you guys to see, but I'll also make the shape, assuming I had a tall wall behind me. So with legs up the wall, there are a couple of ways to do it. You can do it with or without extra support under the pelvis. The extra support under the pelvis makes a little more of that inversion that we talked about. The pelvis is a little higher, the chest and the head are down lower, and it's in a bit of a back bend. Now, not all backs love that arrangement, so pretend this is my wall, right? Pretend it's not a chair seat, it's a wall. I'm going to have a blanket here at the ready. And I might sidle up kind of close to the wall, swing my legs up my imaginary wall. Usually if you scooch in first and then swing the legs up, it works better than trying to wriggle in. Now, if your hamstrings allow, bring your butt all the way to the wall. If, when you try to bring your butt to the wall, your hips lift up, well, hey, great, that's a wonderful opportunity to slide your blanket under there. Or if your hamstrings scream bloody murder, by all means. So if you've got the wall, you'll press your feet into the wall and kind of lift up like you're doing a little bridge pose. Put your blanket underneath there and then settle your hips back down. Now, to finish what I was saying about the hamstrings, move. If you find you've got a lot of stretch in the backs of the legs, keep inching away from the wall until your hamstrings are like, okay, I can tolerate this. And in that case, the heels will rest on the wall and the legs will be a little bit further away. Completely fine. Or, of course, legs over a chair. So now, if I try to do legs over a chair with this extra support under my pelvis, the chair winds up a little bit too short. Now, I can, if I want to keep the support under the pelvis, I could add blankets or a bolster or whatever, add some height to my chair so that it feels like my shins are parallel to the floor. You could also remove the support from underneath you so that the legs rest better on the chair. Either way, lying down so that your back is supported. You can have a small neck and head support, just enough for your comfort. There's not a restorative pose requirement for anything under the head, so just be comfortable. Put whatever you like there. And breathe. So if you are feeling fatigued, either all over fatigue, like and just exhausted from all of this, everything in the world, or if you're feeling like fatigue in your legs on a chair and legs up the wall can be very useful poses. This is a great one to have in your practical yoga toolbox. Swing your legs up over something and stay there for several minutes. If your feet get tingly or numb, cross your legs on the wall or come down to legs in a chair. Most of all, breathe. If this position causes any sense of like too much pressure in your head, then lower the legs so they're not as high up. Maybe you make a little platform out of your blankets and bolsters. It can be lower than your chair height. And settle in here. Follow the rhythm of the breath. Allowing the earth to support you. And let yourself be recharged and replenished by this rest. Start to deepen the breath here. Now, for our last pose, for our Shavasana, if you are very happy resting with your legs over a chair or at the wall, then you may wish to reposition the legs if you're at the wall. You can feel free to stay here. It is completely okay. If not, we'll have a couple other choices. You can slowly roll to one side. You can, of course, listen to the choices before you decide. That's okay too. So, one option is remain in your legs up the wall or legs in the chair. A second option is return to Supta Baddha Konasana, the pose we were in at the very beginning of our time together, with the chest open, the support under the upper back. So adding the support under the chest in Supta Baddha Konasana has a little bit more of that sense of like opening the heart or stretching out the area, even though it's not a big stretch, a little bit more uplifting in its energetics because it's opening and expanding this area across the front of the chest. So as a reminder, if you want to do the Supta Baddha Konasana variation, place one long support that'll be underneath your back. You can do the incline if you wish. Have a separate blanket for your head, blanket or pillow for your head. And then cushions or blocks for your legs. The soles of the feet come together. The knees go out to the sides. And you lean back gently. Remember, the flatter your bolster, the more you want to allow a little air gap beneath the low back and the hips so that the low back is not trying to turn that sharper corner around the bolster. Again, if your bolster's mushier, it's less of an issue, but if you've got one of those tall, like poofy, square, firm ones that we have at the studio, you know what I mean. You might want to give yourself some space. So that's option number 2. Option number 3, grab something soft, drape your legs over it, and lie down any way you like. You can have the back support and the leg support. You can do the recliner, the lazy boy special, and support both if you wish. It's your pose. It is your practice. It is your option. So take any extra measures to be as comfortable as you can be. If you've got that drape for over the eyes, go ahead and cover the eyes so you have a sense of being in a little quiet, dark space to relax. And see that your body is as comfortable as possible as you settle in here. Take a deep breath in. Through the mouth, let it go. Allow the body to relax. Toes, feet, and ankles. Calves, knees, and thigh muscles lengthening, loosening, resting. The fingers and the hands and wrists relax. Forearms, elbows, upper arms and shoulders rest. The low back and the upper back melt down into the earth, connecting you as you plug in to recharge. Allow the belly to rise and fall any way it wants to. The shoulders melt. Swallow and relax the throat and the jaw. Let the cheeks, the eyes, and the forehead rest. Allow the muscles of the scalp to rest. And even the ears. Let my words drift over, not grabbing on to anything. And if there is any sense of the inner squirrels of the mind feeling agitated, know that that's perfectly normal. Sometimes as we settle into a physically comfortable position, we may become more aware of mental agitation. Relaxing is sometimes like peeling an onion. As we remove the top layer of tension, the next layer reveals itself. We're not trying to strip it all away, but rather allowing space for whatever is there. Notice what arises in the body, in the mind. Layers of tension may reveal itself, sometimes more. You may notice that layer dissipates. Notice the moments of peace and allow space for the moments when tension arises again. Allow yourself to ride on the waves. gently witnessing all that arises. Very gently now, start to deepen your breath. Now, of course, if you wish, you can remain here and extend your Shavasana. If you are ready to come up, go slowly and gently. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Deepen the breath gradually. When you're ready, stretch the arms overhead. Lengthen the body. And let the knees fold in one at a time. Gently rocking, massaging the back. When you're ready, make your way over to one side and pause. Use your hands and slowly press up to seated. As you come to upright, bring the palms together, lift the heart, lower the chin, and take a moment just to observe what the body feels like, how the breath moves. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe and at ease. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you.